Hello, everyone, and welcome to the March virtual user group. Hard to believe that we're already in March. I feel like the new year was last week. But thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be with us today. We have Angie Hildak and Steve DeWitt with us today, who are going to be talking about an exciting topic that I'm sure that's why you guys are all here for. With the new release of WebFOCUS 9.3.7 on the horizon, they're going to share a little bit of a sneak peek about some things that you guys are going to get to experience with this new release. So a lot of great information today. But before we dive into that, I am going to go through a couple of things with you guys and talk to y'all about some marketing items that I want you guys to be aware of and to know about. As I mentioned today, yes, we have Angie and Steve with us as your presenters. So they will be presenting with you. But as a reminder, IBI.com. This is your go-to source for all things IBI. If you guys need any information, customer stories, data sheets, product news, if you want to register for any of the events, this is where you will go. Our IBI.com, we rebranded this page a couple years ago, so it's got a great new fresh look and feel. You also can access the support portal from IBI.com, our community from IBI.com, and a lot of other great IBI goodness is all out there on our website. So be sure to check it out every now and then. Just pop over and see if there's something new out there that you need to, that you're interested in or need to freshen up on. What just happened? Oh, did I go out of slideshow mode? Okay.
Yes.
Am
You,
I
we
back in
see your
portal?
browser.
Oh
Okay, yes.
no.
We're good now. We
Okay,
see it.
sorry about that. I actually clicked on it and it took me to the website. So see, it works. You can also access our support portal from IBI.com. As I mentioned, if you're having any issues, need to put in a ticket with support, you can do that through here. Also through the support portal, you're able to access the documentation site. All of our product downloads are out there. Any new product notifications will also be posted out there. So again, just another really great resource for you guys, especially those who run into any hurdles or challenges, is to get in touch with your technical support representative. So keep that in mind. Our webinars, as I mentioned, you can register for all of our virtual user groups and our Focus Fridays out on our website. You also get the mailings for those, but you can also register out here. All of the webinars, the Focus Fridays, the VUGs are all recorded, and we do post those in the on-demand section of the website as well and to our YouTube channel. So if you do happen to miss one, you can go back and watch those on demand. All right, the big announcement, we made it last month. Summit 2026. We are headed back to New York City, August 24th and 25th. So this is a 2-day event. We'd love to have you guys join. Registration is now open. Our team is hard at work working on the agenda, and we are hoping to be able to share that with you guys very soon. But go ahead and grab your spot. We'd love to have you guys there. Summit was a great success last year. We celebrated 50 years of IBI, and so we're going to continue the momentum into this year. And we're really excited about what we're putting together for this one. And given that we have a 2-day experience, we're able to bring more to you guys. So we're super excited about what this agenda is going to look like, the sessions that are going to be available, maybe some popular big names maybe popping up that you'll see. So we really are excited, and we hope that you guys will join us. If you have any questions so far, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'm happy to answer those. Again, I know a lot of you guys will be asking about the agenda. We are working on it, and it will be available fairly soon. So stay tuned for the agenda, but go ahead and, like I said, register and grab that seat. All right, IBI community, again, another extremely great resource for you as a customer. If you have not been, if you are not out on the community or haven't joined, I highly recommend that you do that. Hopefully those of you who are in the community are utilizing it. It's a great way to get connected with the experts, the IBI experts who are out there posting articles and tips and tricks, as well as just your peer learning too. So you guys are learning a lot from each other. I see a lot of great threads and conversations going on out there, so I'm glad you guys are utilizing it. But then we have our experts, for example, like Alex out here, who will post articles and give you guys some interesting how-tos and tips and tricks. So again, if you haven't joined community, it's a great resource. Go ahead and head out there and join it. I keep clicking on everything. Sorry, guys. Okay, IBI education. As you know, we launched the IBI education portal, so that is available to everyone who is an IBI customer. So if you are looking for some IBI training, we have that available. All you need to do is request access to that, and I can grant that to you. You will receive an email. I want to state this because I think there's been some confusion. Once you've been granted into the platform, the email that is sent to you actually comes from Big Ten Can. So a lot of people miss that or disregard it. They think it's spam. It's not. That is the platform that hosts our education portal. So that is the platform that you originally will sign up with. So if you see that email come through, that is what that is, and it's just for you to gain access into the portal. If you have any questions regarding education access, again, please do not hesitate to reach out to me personally or send your question to the education@ibi.com email, and I will still answer you from there. So we want you guys to get involved in our training. New courses will be added next quarter, which is coming up very, very soon. Or this quarter, sorry, we already are in the new quarter. There will be some new courses added here very soon. And in the future, every quarter, there are new courses added. All right, social media, everyone's on it. If you are, give us a follow. We're on LinkedIn, X, and we have the YouTube channel. Subscribe, follow us out there. We do a lot of posting and IBI updates on all of those. And as I mentioned at the beginning, we do post all of the recordings from the VUGs, the Focus Fridays, out on the YouTube channel. So another place that you can access those on demand. IBI News, if you guys are not getting any of our mailings, please let me know. That includes any invites to Focus Fridays, invites to virtual user groups, the monthly newsletter that we have, and then most important is our Summit emails that have now began for promotion for Summit. So if you guys are not getting those, please, please, please let us know. A couple of you have reached out. And I think we've gotten some of you straightened out, so hopefully that's the case. But if you're not getting these, please, please let us know. We want you to be staying up to date on all of our events and things that are going on with IBI. All right, I'm going to cover this for Hannah real quick. So if you've got big plans for 2026, the fastest way is by jumping to WebFOCUS 9.3. You'll get some awesome new features like AI-driven accessibility, better scalability, cloud flexibility, and enhanced security. So if you want to join the WebFOCUS upgrade program to get started on that, we'd love for you to do that. And the best time to upgrade really is right now. If once you register, you'll immediately check out our discovery tool and for the free self-assessment. And we'll give you that expert advice, the hands-on support so that you can complete your upgrade fast and start taking advantage of all the new WebFOCUS upgrades. And then last but not least is if you're also ready to kick off your AI journey, because we know AI is a very hot topic in today's world, then you need the WebFOCUS AI Bootcamp. You will get direct access to our AI gurus, and for that personalized support, you will get to dive into those real world examples and learn those best practices. So this is the quickest way to apply for AI and see those results fast, and get the expertise that you have been seeking. So sign up for our bootcamp if you're interested in that. And with that, if I missed anything, if you need assistance with anything, please do not hesitate, reach out. That is why we are here, and we're happy to help. So with that, I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to turn it over to Angie, and let's get started.
All right. And of course, because it's my luck today, someone just started mowing grass outside. So please forgive me if you get any background noise, but hopefully my noise canceling headset will take care of that for today. All right. So I should be sharing now, and someone can yell at me if there is any issue with that. Okay, let me go back. So for anyone who does not know me, my name is Angie Hildak. I am the Director of Product Management here for IBI. I've been in IBI since 2009. And yeah, very excited today to talk about the release of WebFOCUS 9.3.7. And my co-presenter today is Steve DeWitt. Steve, if you want to do a quick introduction at all.
Sure. Yes, my name is Steve DeWitt. I am the product manager for WebFocus AI, and I'm looking forward to showing you what we're doing in 9.3.7. You may remember me from my previous life working with IBI Data Intelligence. I did a couple of presentations here. I found this opportunity to work with WebFocus AI. That was exciting, and I'm really happy to be doing this. Looking forward to talking to
Awesome.
you later.
Thanks, Steve. All right, so let's see. Let's get into our presentation here. So, a quick agenda. We did our introductions. I'm going to talk a little bit about the WebFocus data and analytics platform, and then dive into going over some of the features that are in 9.3.7. But we're going to save the best part for last, which is a live demo of the NLQ functionality that is available in 9.3.7. And then Q&A as well. Feel free to put your questions into the Q&A. I saw there was at least one in there already, and we'll try to maybe address them as we go. Some of them may get answered through the presentation, but definitely at the end, we'll address as many of those as possible. All right, so if you missed it over the last couple of months, IBI has recently launched the IBI WebFocus Data and Analytics Platform. So what this is one platform that combines WebFocus that you're all familiar with and data intelligence, Steve's former job, as he said. And so what that means, though, is that we're bringing a two-pillar approach to data certainty. So you're getting all the analytics from WebFocus, all the high concurrency, mission critical visualizations and distribution combined with data trust that's coming from the data intelligence side, being able to combine data through either some of the data integration tools, using data quality to really make sure it's good data coming in, and data migrator to move it around wherever you need to. All those things are coming together into one platform that's a solid foundation of data trust for your analytics. So with 9.3.7, so we released the IBI WebFocus Data and Analytics Platform 9.3.7. If you are on one of the old product offerings like WebFocus Basic Edition or Enterprise Edition or any of the others, you still get 9.3.7. But in the big platform of 9.3.7, you have all of WebFocus 9.3.7, the container editions, Data Migrator 9.3.7, but in that platform, you are also getting IBI Data Intelligence 2.0, which released earlier this year, or maybe it was late last year, and also iWay Service Manager 9.2.0 as well. So if you have not moved over to this full data and analytics platform yet, and you're interested in it, let us know, and we'd love to talk to you and see how you can start using some of the data intelligence capabilities as well. All right, but I want to go into some of the features. So I'm going to start off with WebFocus Hub. Actually, before I get into that, one quick comment, because I did see it as a question that came in. When is 9.3.7 coming out? We were really, really hoping to have it as GA available today, and we're getting very close to it. So we don't have an exact date, but I promise you it is in progress and going to come very, very soon. Look for announcements either on our LinkedIn or on our other social media from the support team. Contact your sales or ATS team members, however you need to, but we'll do our best to make sure the word gets out to you as soon as that is actually GA. All right, so now going into those features. All right, so in the WebFocus Hub, there's a couple of just small incremental improvements here because we are working on some big projects that will take us a couple of releases to get through. So one of the big things, though, in the WebFocus Hub is it's an improvement to the server node configuration. So if you're one of those customers who has one instance of your WebFocus client and maybe 2 or 3 or 4 different reporting servers tied up to that, and you need to be able to switch between those reporting servers in the hub to do different functionality of things, either access the content there or manage it, whatever it is. So we made some improvements to the selections that's around those server nodes. In those improvements, the biggest one there is actually performance. So In the past, if you had really a lot of those reporting servers, and by a lot, we're talking like double digits up into the dozens of reporting servers, sometimes getting that list and getting especially the status of those servers, whether they were online, offline, whatever, would take a long time. So improving performance a lot there. And then also while we were at it and in that area, we did some other improvements of whenever I select a server that I want to work with, it now selects across all the different areas of the hub to be the same server. And then it's just a new easy to see interface as well, where I could see just very easily which servers are running, or if there are any that are not running, I can see that very quickly as well. Also, what's in our hub area, but kind of applicable across like WebFOCUS as a whole, is we did some updates to our public access or the anonymous user login on the login page. So the public access is easier. The link is on the sign-in page. And so you can now click that access as guest on that sign-in page to come in as the public user. Any public user can see content that is either shared with the public user, or if you've come in that way and then decide later, oh, I actually do have an ID and I want to sign in with that to get more information, you can do that as well. All right, going over to designer. We have a lot of them in this area. So the first one, and Ken Lin, who's our PM for designer, actually gave me his list of features, and he put this one last, but it was my favorite one out of the designer area, so I put it first instead. So there's new functionality in our PDF output. It's code only for now, but we're working on some UI for it for future releases, where you can insert into your PDF output those text boxes that the end user, the person who receives your PDF, can fill in on demand once they receive that PDF. So if you think of this, most often you'll see this on things like tax form websites or maybe your DMV when you're getting a new driver's license, that you download the PDF and there's all these boxes on the PDF itself that you have to type in and fill in and then print it out or save it and send it back to the appropriate party. So in WebFOCUS now, you can actually create those PDFs that have those blank boxes to fill in. We also have a lot of different options on those boxes to customize them the way you need. So things like character limits, default strings, text combing, which is think of that as like if you're entering a phone number, you probably want it in the format of there's 3 digits, and 4 digits of your area code and phone number if you're in the US. And so the text combing says I can enter 10 digits, but it'll go into these 3 boxes in that specific layout overall. And then other things of like width and colors and borders. There's some extreme examples here on the page. Not that you would ever want a lime green text box on your PDF, but just to show you that the colors are possible there. And then the last option is a signature block. So a lot of times when you're looking at those PDFs, it's a sign here at the bottom to say everything is filled out correctly. So we wanted to add that signature block as well. So like I said, that's coming in the text editor text version in 9.3.7, and then we're working on some UIs for that for future releases. All right, so AutoFit in Designer. So this is one that I know has been talked about among our customers many times over the years. So now when I've turned on AutoFit in Designer, my report will automatically stretch to fill the entire horizontal width. So it's available exclusively for HTML format. And this was something that you used to have in the language and in InfoAssist, and now that support is in Designer as well. So it was one of our Designer gap items that we're working to fill and make sure we get that entire gap closed. Over on the chart side, for line charts and matrix charts, some other updates there. So for line charts, the ability to style and have some new customizations per line or per series. So it makes it a little bit more meaningful to read depending on what your line is showing. And then matrix charts sometimes could get a little bit unreadable if you had some long text for your columns at the top and you had a lot of columns. So we added the ability to do a label rotation on those as well to be able to have those charts a little bit more readable. Over on the filtering side of Designer, new options for is missing and is not missing in some of the filters that are in Designer authors mode, and then carries over into the assemble mode as well, or the page mode rather. And so this allows you to specifically target when there's missing data as in your data set overall, like not zero, not a specific value, but just like there is no value there for that data. And then defines and computes. So we received feedback a while ago that when I was creating defines or computes, it was hard for me to tell them apart from just the regular fields, the measures that were in the databases that were coming out in Designer. And then also after I created define, it drops down to wherever is appropriate in the list, and I don't know where that is, and I have to go searching then to find it. So we did a couple of updates there, made some new icons to really distinguish like which ones are defines or computes. And then now when you create a new define, it'll jump you automatically to that location as well, so you know where it is. Okay, and report headers and footers, some updates here in the dialog for creating the report headings and report footings. So in the past, we've had page headings and table headings, and so we're adding little by little all the different variations of headers and footers into the Designer UI. And so the options here are you can right-click on the area and add the component header for whichever component you're in at the time. And as it says, future enhancements planned, so we'll continue working in this area until we get everything in there. Okay, over on the page side, so if you've used some of the unbound controls that we added several releases ago now, what you found was that when you added the control initially, even if you were populating it with certain sets of data, when you initially ran the page, it would say no data selection or no value selection there. So we thought that was not great experience. Seeing no values is very misleading when you first load the page. And so we added a new option for setting a default value. So after you've set up how that control is populated, you can set the default value for the selection. All right, so real quick with Designer 2, I breezed through these very, very quickly and did not go into a lot of detail, and that's because there's going to be another session coming up soon. Look for the announcements from the marketing emails that come to you, because coming up soon, there's going to be a special session that deep dives into all of these Designer topics for 9.3.7. So look forward to that, and some of your questions may be answered there as well. All right, so going over to Reportcaster, and I'm watching my time to make sure Steve has enough time to do his demo at the end as well. So into Reportcaster, we added new subscribe functionality. So this is something that has been asked about for a long time, maybe not quite called subscribe in the different variations, but we did want to introduce this functionality in 9.3.7. So the subscribe functionality, you could think of it as like a simplified schedule or a quick schedule overall. So whenever I subscribe to an output of some kind, I really just want to open it up, say it's from someone, send it to this email, maybe add a message in there as needed, and just click save, and I'm done. And that's the simplest thing to set up overall. And so this was something that was requested, sort of a simplified schedule there, or a fast schedule. But we decided that just in case you wanted the full functionality of Reportcaster, we do actually have being able to set the recurrence and move into the entire full schedule for all the options as well. So you can convert from a subscription over to a full Reportcaster schedule. So the recurrences you can still set up of like if you want it just once right now, or if you want to set up like, do you want it daily or weekly or whatever it is. Okay. Next one was another big customer request that we got was being able to run silently, or another way of saying that is to not distribute anything. So this is the scenario where people were using Reportcaster schedules to set up either like set up data sets or just run and create files on a certain interval, maybe like run at 2 a.m. when there's not a lot of other traffic on the system or things like that. And so there's a new option in the schedule when you're on the distribution area that says do not distribute. It means run all of these things, but there is no actual distribution out to FTP or email or anything like that. Just execute the procedures that are specified. Next one, multiple recurrences. So this one, we again had gotten feedback that one recurrence is great and you can choose a lot of options in there. But if I want to do something of like send this to me every Monday weekly, but then when it gets to the very end of the quarter, I want to get it for the last 10 days of the quarter every single day. That's very hard to set up in just one single schedule. So now you can have multiple recurrences and greater flexibility there. So you can have really customized delivery uh, recurrences. I'm repeating myself, sorry, but a lot of flexibility there and yeah, available in 9.3.7. And then one last small one for those of you who use amper variables in your schedules a lot and needed to be able to set parameters, set some of those parameter values to dates. We added an option now that when your variable is associated with a date and the format is specified as a date, when you go to select a value within the schedule, we'll show you a calendar as opposed to making you type in the format of the date overall. All right, going over to reporting server and adapters. So on our adapter side, we've been doing a lot of updates, and the biggest one that we've been working with lately is Databricks. So I don't know how many of you have been using Databricks. If you have not started using it yet, something to look into for sure. It's a cloud native data source that has metric view support is the new thing that we supported within our tools as well. And we did have a couple of sessions, I believe, on Databricks already. And I know Steve Zerkiev, who is in charge of that area, has been posting on the community as well. Other than Databricks, though, we also added some support for persistent stage for Google BigQuery adapter, and then a Denodo adapter as well. We introduced the Denodo adapter in the create, update, what is it? Create, remove, update operations and write capability with the Denodo adapter. And then our Salesforce adapter, we have some admin controlled write permissions for the data integrity as well. But not just on our cloud data adapters. We've also been doing a lot of updates on our on-prem adapters as well. So these are just a few of them. Architectural efficiency across multiple adapters, new support for SQL aggregation functions for var pop and var samp, and optimizing join operations and parameterized table functions. And then enhanced security for some of them as well, including the REST adapter. And then the last but not least in this area are some other reporting server features. So with the reporting server nodes, if you have multiple reporting server nodes, but you don't want them to be indexed for the Solr search functionality, you have that option now that you can exclude those. Being able to deploy the reporting server on an ARM64 architecture, and then with the license keys that we use now, many of you have swapped over to that already, or if you haven't, it'll be coming very soon because it's in all of our releases now. With the license key expirations, though, we wanted to make sure that you're aware of when that is coming up, and so those expiration alerts will be sent to the EdiPrint log at the startup of the server as well to say how many days or how much time is remaining on that license key. All right, one last area for me is the container editions pieces. And this will bleed a little bit into Steve's upcoming topics as well. So for container edition, especially on our DSML container edition, we added a new DSML CE tool similar to the WebFOCUS CE tool that you may have heard Sachin talk about in the past. So it's a menu-driven command line utility to assist with, on a Kubernetes environment, assist with like the pre and post deployment steps, the deployment itself, troubleshooting, and so on. So you can see a screenshot there of some of the options of like a pre-check, a deploy, if you want to see the version. Help has all the information of all the different options you have in there. So the DSML CE tool, so that tool is new for the DSML Container Edition and already exists for WebFOCUS Container Edition. But improvements on the WebFOCUS side is some extra confirmation prompts before deletion, so you don't accidentally delete anything. Some license checks as well before you do the deployment, just to make sure that you're not going to run into a license expired error right away. And then being able to download logs as well was improved as part of that CE tool. Some more support on the places that we support CE. So Caverno policy support, this is read-only root file system support. And then we also have like the reasonable pod distribution budgets or PDBs. So these ensure high availability during voluntary disruption. So things like I decide to bring down one server to do an upgrade, for example, I can keep running the others, and just overall smoother operations and adherence to the recommended Kubernetes practices. Also for the container edition side, the enhanced ingress controller support uses the Nginx gateway fabric, implements the Kubernetes gateway API. Again, continued compatibility, enhanced security for deployments in things like AWS. Some other Helm chart enhancements. So again, that confirmation before deleting, if you want to delete a Helm chart, support to run a load test or use smoke tests. And then also you can deploy a Prometheus server and adapter for using the Helm charts as well. All right. I think that's it from my side. So I did pretty good on time. I ended about 10 minutes earlier than I expected to. So, but I will stop my sharing here and see.
Actually, if you'd keep those slides up and just change them for me, that'll be easier than my opening that doc.
And
I
Angie,
can do
there's
that.
quite a few questions. Do you want to take a couple right now before we transition over to Steve?
Let me take a look. Let's see. So I did answer the Winwell 9.3.7 be available. Let's see. When moving from WebFOCUS standard install, can we do an inline upgrade, or do we need to bring up a new environment with a fresh install? So Josh, your question there, I will say is depending on which version you're coming from. If you're in any of the 9.x versions currently, you can just do an inline install. No need to bring up a separate environment. The only time you would maybe need a second environment is if you're coming from like a 8x or earlier release. But if you're doing an upgrade from that far past, what I would really recommend is reaching out to the upgrade program and getting the feedback from there, because they can help with all those details and guidance on that as well. Okay, a couple of questions on the PDF. So does it support electronic signature? So Greg, that question from you, I will need to check with Kin on that, but I think what I will do is just make sure that that is addressed in our next webinar, and we'll try to get the answer to you sooner than that, but for everyone else who is interested in that as well, we'll make sure that's addressed. And then also on the PDF side, can the signature authenticate with DocuSign? Again, I'll have to look into that one. I don't know that answer offhand, but we'll get that one figured out for you, and Jim will send you that info. All right. Let's see. Is there a compatible Solar and Tomcat version for 9.3.7? So Solar, I know we're using Solar 9 still. Tomcat, I believe, is Tomcat 8 or 9, and I forget the exact number there. It's in our in the release documentation, so you can take a look there as well. Once the docs are available, it will say explicitly which like third-party tools are supported there. So that will be your place to check as well. Okay. And this Entra ID support for Databricks will come with 9.3.8. Rudolph, I think if you can send me a message after this, email me or reach out in the webinar, Shay can get the question to me as well. That's one we'll have to look into further on that. When will release documentation be available is when the product goes GA. So very, very, very soon, but I don't have an exact date. Okay. And then let's see. There's a couple of others in here, and I think what I'm going to do is try to answer some of these in text as Steve is going through his presentation, because they may require a little bit of larger answers than I can talk through. So, Steve, you asked me to share again.
You don't have to anymore. I took advantage of your question and answer time.
All right, over to you then.
All right, then. Okay, so first, just to hit the new features that are coming out in 9.3.7 for us, there have been some big improvements in ML functions. So the ability to classify, predict, understand data using those machine learning models is better than ever. In particular, we've done some automation to ensure picking the most relevant columns for modeling. Especially for those of us who aren't real data scientists. That kind of help is really useful and gives us stronger, better models. Mutual information integration. Again, just a way to get better feature selection, build better, stronger, more accurate models. One that I think should be interesting to people who are using this is the scalability improvement. Handling 2 million rows now for a binary classification model. That is a model that is saying everything is either this or that. Can look at many features and make that categorization. And faster learning curve calculation, and that just means at the point where we've created some models and we're evaluating and trying to decide which is the best one that we want to go forward with, our evaluations are stronger and faster. And then on to NLQ, and this slide doesn't do it justice, which is why you get a demo right after this. So in 9.3.7, we have upgraded the language model behind NLQ from 5.3 to 5.4, which sounds like, well, that's only one, but it's a big one. So improved performance, better language capabilities and inference, which we trade for the fact that we are now requiring a GPU to run it on. The DSML service will need the GPU. Honestly, we've always recommended the GPU. We've recommended it in very strong language saying, no, no, you really should do this. With this release, we are saying NLQ needs it to get the kind of performance and accuracy that we want to be able to give you. Along with that, we have better, more consistent visualizations. Looking forward to showing you that. And the ability to toggle between a tabular view of the data, which is something that a lot of data people love to see, and the visualization. So we can go back and forth, look at the numbers, and then look at a representation of those numbers. So let's see. Yep. Those are my highlight new features. And if I get out of here, with no further ado, let me jump into the demo. So first thing, let me just show you the data set I'm going to use. This data is sample data that reflects customers at a bank, the type of credit card they have. We have blue and gold and platinum and silver cards reflecting the usual sorts of things. Blue ones are less wonderful than platinum. We have some demographic information about these customers. We know something about their income levels. We know something about their financial status. We know about their inactivity, their balances. And then over here to the right, We have information that was created by one of our machine learning models, a binary classification model that predicts whether a customer is at risk of churn. So are we in danger of losing this customer based on everything else we know about them? Or are they safe? And so in the questions I'm going to be giving to NLQ, that's really what we're going to be focusing on, is digging into information about where this churn comes from and what it means, and perhaps what could be how to better understand it so we can avoid losing our customers. All right, in WebFOCUS, I'm going to explore some data, and I'm going to explore that scored bank data. And at this point, right, we got this blank canvas. And one of the nice things we can do in NLQ is ask the model to suggest some questions, right? Based on the schema, what do you think I might want to know? And so I'll just pick one. I'm kind of curious about our at-risk customers. What is their balance? Are these big customers? So average balance for clients with at-risk status. My setup here today, by the way, the DSML services are running on a machine with an NVIDIA A100 GPU. WebFOCUS server and client are actually running on my Windows VDI. So I have a lot of horsepower in the back and not so much in the front today. And what we get back is kind of a boring table, but it tells me that the average balance for my customers at risk is what, almost $27,000. That's an interesting thing. Now, I have my questions set up, and I'm going to copy and paste them. Honestly, I'm pretty confident that if I typed these questions or other questions, I'd get good answers because we're having great results now. But you don't want to watch me type. That's actually why my career as a typing streamer failed. So let's just find out a number here. How many customers are safe versus at risk? What does that look like in our enterprise? All right. Oops, I meant to ask you to guess how this data was going to be visualized. And if you guessed table, you're right, because we've just got a couple data points here. What kind of bar chart would really inform us more? But we see that something like, oh, I don't know, 20%-ish of our customers are at risk, and we should be a little concerned about a large number like that. All right, so for the customers that are at risk, let's see what the total balance is based on their credit card category. Again, just a sort of exploration question. We're saying we know that we give people different credit cards based on different characteristics having to do with what we consider to be their credit worthiness. So how does at-riskness map to credit card? All right. If you'd guessed we might get a bar chart for that, well, that would have been a good guess. But because of some other considerations, we've taken this and made it a ring. So of the $35.7 million of total balance we have for the at-risk customers, it maps out to say that almost all of our at-risk customers are blue cards. So interesting. And we can work on with that. Some things to see here. First of all, if I hover, I get additional information. I see that, in fact, it's 75% of my at-risk customers are blue cards, and that they're responsible for, we should really put some commas in there, but a big number of total balance. Also, I can toggle over here and look at how this breaks down in a tabular view. So going back and forth is kind of neat. All right. Now, taking this line of inquiry a little further, let's say the balance per branch per card category for those at-risk customers. So where are these customers who are at risk banking with us? I think did I fail to clear the screen? Oh, my fault. I just did the same question twice. All right, so average predicted churn by income category. Again, another question, same general line of thought. We know about card category. Let's look at it by income category. This time we get a bar chart with our three. We see that our lower income customers are most at risk of churn, our high, the least. Solid visualization. We understand something now. Moving on. Now we can add the city. And okay, now we've got multiple y-axes, right? So our average predicted churn is over there on the right, whereas our average balance is on the left. And looking through it, we see that some interesting things, perhaps like in Chicago, our churn and balance seem to line up rather nicely compared to say Detroit, where we've got a higher amount of predicted churn. In New York, we have quite a high predicted churn. While we're here, a couple of things to show. First of all, if I'm interested in this and I think I'd like to come back to it or show it to someone else, or perhaps integrate it into a portal or a compound report, I do have the ability to take this and save it to my workspace. Looks like I might have done that before. And again, my typing is boring, so I'll just save that real quick and we could come back to it. All right. Now, we've looked at it by card. We've looked at it by city. Now let's drill down to who actually are these customers, but specifically, who are the customers with big balances we're at risk of losing. So a balance greater than $250,000. So let's get that ranked list of at-risk customers with big balances. And okay, nice horizontal bar chart. And we see that Francis Robinson is in fact a real outlier here at 90-something% probability of churn and a balance we know over $250,000. In fact, can we see his balance if I hover over it? No, just his churn. Henry Carlson, not far behind. All of these big four seem to be particular customers we might want to target because they have a lot of money with us, and again, the model thinks they might leave. All right. Now, let's take a couple of different dimensions here. Well, a couple of different metrics, I'm sorry, and then look at them across branch cities. So the balance, the average predicted churn, and the transaction count per branch city. So again, just a way to look at how things stand at our different locations. I'm having some cut and paste issues. Bad day for my control key to start being wonky. All right. So this is interesting, right? We got a bubble chart this time, and it's interesting mostly because I love a bubble chart. I could look at them all day. But as data goes, this is interesting too, because we can look and we can see that, okay, who's this over here? Because they have the biggest balance and rather low predicted churn, Houston. Okay, so we should probably send a fruit basket over to the Houston branch because they seem to be doing much better in terms of churn. Over here, our highest churn and still quite high in terms of balance, New York. All right, so New York seems to be a place where something is not going well since we anticipate losing quite a few customers, and again, a lot of money there. So let's drill into New York. And here the question is, what is the average predicted churn in New York for each year after 2020? And all right, I really pasted the right question this time. As we wait for that, think about that question, right? We looked very quickly at the data, but the model is doing some great inference on the natural language here. Well, it's funny to call it natural language. It's language. Um, so the idea of each year after 2020 is not something that is obvious in the schema, but it was able to figure out what we meant and give us this nice line chart. And what the line chart shows us is that churn has been bad in New York for quite some time and is actually getting possibly a little bit better over time. So interesting thing to see. And again, a great example of how the model is handling my question. All right, so now let's look at this for balance, average predicted churn, and transaction count per person in New York. So drilling down more deeply to our New York customers and who are we worried about over there? And again, we have three different metrics there, and we get what honestly looks like a bit of a mess. So this is a good one to, perhaps we should look at this on a bigger canvas. Still, oh, all right, I think it's kind of a beautiful mess, but it's a mess. And the reason I take some time over this is to show you that despite that, by hovering over it, I can still find some interesting things. So I think we saw this Henry Carlson character a little earlier and saw that he was someone with a large balance and quite some risk of churn. A couple other names perhaps are familiar. I remember Sandra Oliveros from an earlier one. In fact, if I go back up here, let's see if we can scroll back to that. Yeah, there they are. Henry and Sandra are 2 and 3 on that list before. So this confirms their position in that. All right, last one here. Let's just say, hey, what about the balance, predicted churn, and transaction count per name in New York? But let's just limit that to blue card customers. And again, easy language, right? With a blue card, I'm not saying where card category equals blue or anything like that. So it's doing if this works, and I'm optimistic, we should end up with a somewhat less exhausting looking bubble chart. And we do. Still plenty there, lots of blue card customers, but we've at least taken some of the noise out of the mix. All right. One more example I want to show you because I think it's kind of cool. And for that, I'm going to switch to a different data source. I'm going to go to this database of Irish loan data that we like to work with, and jump over to here. So one of the things we have discovered, our 5.4 model knows a lot of words. In fact, it knows 200,000 words, not all in English, but it left me wondering how many words I know. I mean, I feel like I know a lot of words. I do the crossword puzzle every day, but I don't think it's 200,000. But it doesn't have necessarily deep domain knowledge in every domain. So how do we work with that? And well, we work with it like a reasonable analyst. So we found that when we asked what is the outstanding balance for each loan grade, it couldn't infer what average outstanding balance really meant. It didn't know outstanding balance. So we just changed our question, right? By adding to the query this first sentence, the outstanding balance is the difference between the loan amount and the recovered principal, which is kind of a duh for most of us. But the model didn't happen to be trained on that. With a richer prompt, we can get the result we were looking for. There it is. So the average outstanding balance can be calculated once we take the trouble to explain what it is. So that's a nice feature of the model, the fact that it may not know everything, but it knows what we tell it and within the context of a particular query. So let's see, we're closing in on noon. And that's my story. For those of you who have been using earlier versions of NLQ, I hope you see that this is a nice upgrade. For those of you who've been NLQ curious but haven't been ready to try it, 9.3.7 is a great time to try it. And at this point, I think I'll stop the share. And if there are any questions, I'd like to hear them.
Yeah, there are. There's a couple came in so far. One, which I love as a question because I know the answer. If you save your NLQ result to your workspace, are you then able to open the visualization and make changes to it in Designer?
Why, yes. Yes, you are.
Yes, that's it. The simplest answer is yes, of course. We want you to be able to
Right.
take your output and use it, edit it if you need to, change the colors, make it your theme, put it in a portal, whatever you want to from there.
So yes, we're as you can see, we're not always imaginative with our color schemes, although our bubble charts are pretty. But if you want to do more work with that and refine that a bit and reuse it, you certainly can. The next question about can other models be plugged in besides ours? No. Right now, we are our approach is working around this on-prem model that we install as part of our DSML services, the 5.4. This is something we're actively investigating, and the future may be different, but now we're 5.4 all the way down. Can I prompt and tell the chart interested? No. We have some rules that we are applying right now that essentially guarantee that you will get a meaningful chart. Right. So we are intelligently, but not artificially intelligently, looking at the SQL and the number of measures and the number of dimensions and the question asked, and putting together a meaningful chart. The problem with asking for a particular kind of chart is the dealing with the case where you ask for something that's going to not make any sense, right? So this is where we are.
Yeah, you ask for a time series chart of only one point in time, not going to work out too well for a chart.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that does come up, right? People want to know how something changes over time. Is it possible to create a cluster model using an NLQ count? That's a good question. I've got to get back to you. I want to say it is, but I'm not sure enough to promise you that.
That was all our questions so far, but keep typing them in because I feel like more keep popping up as we go. But I do want to go back to that, like, can I ask for a certain chart type? Because no, you can't ask for it. But going back to our previous answer of if there is a certain chart type you want, just save it out and open it in Designer, and then you can convert into all the available charts that are there.
And hold on. Somebody said, would it be good to have the list? I do. And so look at that. We in fact can do a scatter plot and a box plot. So I could have worked those in with a little more imagination. Um, Also a list of what we understand and what we're using in making those chart
Steve, can you do me a
recommendations.
favor and click the slideshow view on that one to make it a little bit bigger on your
Uh,
list?
yes, I certainly can. View slideshow.
Because I could barely read it, and I'm sure if I could barely read it, everyone else was probably having issues too.
It's hard on the people in the back row. Um, okay, so yes, we get those. Um, I cribbed a lot of my demo from someone who is an avowed scatter plot hater. He's just come out and said, I hate scatter plots. And so I will take the note that next time I do this, because I don't hate them, I will include one. Also, while we're in here, just some thoughts and ways to guess. All right, so 5 series values or less, you're likely to get a pie. 8 or more, you'll go horizontal instead of vertical. Um, Question of a tree map versus a stacked bar. How many series values or more in a multidimensional chart? And at some point, we say this is just too noisy and you get a table because the chart stopped being useful. So those are some practical tips on this. And I'll see about writing some of this up for the community, so
Mhm.
it's out there.
Another question came in, will NLQ support other languages in the future besides English?
Well, we have begun work on that. One of the things we're seeing today is that unfortunately, unlike a non-intelligent application, we can't just externalize all our strings and have a translator come in. We really have to think about how to get the model to handle a lot of specific use cases. So it's sort of language by language, and we're working now on the framework to do that. Right now, we're looking at Japanese. German is absolutely on the list of languages that we know we need to move into.
I
I
think
can't give you the time
Italian
on
and
that.
French are the others that have come up as requests as well. So we'll get to I don't know if we'll get to the all of the languages that exist in the world, but we'll at least try to get to the ones that
But
you guys as
yeah,
our customers are using.
I was just discussing approaches to this with engineering this morning.
John Coleman asked if we're going to support Klingon. I don't know.
Um, in the early days when I worked on iWay Service Manager and we needed to internationalize it for the first time, we did it all in Pig Latin, and that never stopped being funny.
All right. What is top next item in releases? So James, that's a great question and not one that is easy to answer, I think. So what I'm going to suggest is reach out to your like sales ATS contact that you're like if you don't know who that is, reach out to Shay and I will figure it out. And we need to get you a roadmap session for what's coming in the future. Because that's definitely something that's not easy to answer in just a few minutes. And then there's a, Steve, for you, a compliment from Eric here. If you're struggling as a content creator and typing isn't working, maybe you can look into the ASMR route. All right, here's another, Steve, if you want to read
No,
this one,
this is a
another,
very good question. Well, you know how more metadata in your master file descriptions would help with that. So the idea of a translation table is interesting. It's in line with things we are working on for next releases. In terms of how to sort of bridge that gap to natural language. Um, let me find out what our capabilities are now, and we'll get back on that.
Yeah. We at IBI are just as guilty of abbreviations in everything we do, so we definitely understand the need for that sometimes. Okay, we caught up on questions again, so write your questions in, get them in quick.
Yeah, there used to be a band that played around in New England a lot called NRBQ, and every time I see NLQ, I think briefly about that.
All right. Well, while we're waiting to see if anybody else submits any questions, again, for those who are still on the line, as a reminder, yes, this was recorded. You will receive a copy of the recording tomorrow, along with a link with Angie and Steve, well, Angie and so Steve was demo, a couple of slides Steve had, and then Angie's presentation and my presentation will be included in that email. Again, highly encouraging everybody to register for Summit. We'd love to see as many people there as possible. And we are working on the agenda, so stay tuned for that.
Oh, here's a question I'd like to answer.
Okay.
Has there been any work for an MCP server with access to WebFOCUS from AI, such as Windsurf or Claude? This is another thing that is being cooked up in the back rooms. No promises for when this is public, but we see what it can do and are very interested in the problem.
All right, last call for questions. We just overwhelmed. These were all great questions that you guys had. A lot to probably take back and process. And as Angie said, another question came in. As Angie said, we hope that you guys join us for the VUG next month because that topic is going to be a deeper dive into those designer features. Here's a question from Jim, guys.
Yep, Jim, I don't know the answer to that offhand. I'll need to get you connected with the PM for in that area, but we'll get that change started for you.
Okay, well, if nobody has any additional questions, I want to thank you all for joining us today. Thank you for taking time out of your busy workday to be with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you for the questions. Angie, Steve, thank you so much for presenting all the great content that you guys provided. If you guys need anything, you know where to find us. Please don't hesitate to reach out. And we'll give you some time back to a little bit of time back to your day, and we will see you guys next month. So
Thanks, everyone.
All right,
thank you,
thank you,
everyone.
everybody.